Hey, what's up everybody? It's Vids, and the first time in a very long time, we are back for some more Witcher 3 because there actually was just a recent Witcher 3 update with a bunch of stuff in it, and we will talk a lot more about all of that. From my understanding, you can either, of course, jump in with a new game to experience those things, or I think we can still go into our existing save file that we finished about a year and a half ago or so, and still go back and check out the things that in some cases have been added and are more or less brand new. So let's hop in, and I'm not exactly sure where this is gonna put us, so we'll see. We might need to load an older save file. I imagine we are in Toussaint somewhere, but is it past a point of no return of some sorts? That is, I think, gonna be the key question. So one of the big things is that the graphics have been updated. Now, admittedly, let me just acknowledge that my hardware is not great, and therefore I actually don't think we're really going to be checking that out as much as there may be some new content that we'll be checking out here. Let's see.
You spread some nastiness to me.
All right, and the game is, whoa, super laggy and framey and whatnot, which I imagine may in fact be because of all that. So let's take a quick look at options. And as I said, my hardware is not amazing. In fact, I'm in the process of ordering a new computer that is supposed to be capable of doing things like this. But, you know, it's taking a long time just to open the options menu, which is perhaps a little bit concerning. But I think what we'll do here is, rather than focusing on the aesthetics and what has changed there, I think that's perhaps something that would be better fitted for someone who is has better hardware than I do. We may instead be looking at, also, what is the right category for this video, probably? We may instead just be focusing primarily on the more gameplay aspects, what has been changed, because I think there are several things there. So I think it has been upscaled to 4K, which I don't even have a 4K monitor, so that's in part why I am not really going to focus on that aspect. But I imagine that's why it is taking a while for it to load up this stuff. But let's see. Like, ray tracing has been added, so what if we turn that off? And that might even be enough to make things behave a little bit more. Let's see. It does feel still a little bit woo. Do we always have this much blur? It's been a while since we played The Witcher 3, of course. So hold on just a second here. Oh, and then I've also proceeded to open up other things, apparently. The Spotify, momentarily, apparently. Okay, hold on. Let's see what else we can do here. So, turned off the ray tracing. So, again, for those who have better hardware than I do, that's probably something that will be interesting. And now we get to all the things that I don't really understand very well. So, motion blur. That is the thing that is most obviously messing with me. It does still feel a little bit framey. So not entirely sure what to make of that. But to do a quick check here in terms of going into quests, because I believe there is a new quest that is at least available that previously was bugged or just didn't exist at all. So, okay, these are perhaps still taking a while to load, but it looks like it's saying that everything here has been done. So for those of you who didn't know, we did finish a very comprehensive Witcher 3 playthrough about a year and a half ago, and it took us about a year to do it. More than that, in fact. So that is in part why I am trying to access this new stuff from our existing save file, which is in a file that has completed the game, rather than starting from scratch, because as much as I love playing The Witcher 3, on the other hand, we probably are not really in a place to be replaying a game that takes over a year to do after we've still relatively recently completed it. So mostly just looking to pick out the highlights here. Let's see, we need a fast travel spot because we are in Toussaint right now, but I think also, do I remember any of the controls? All right, so I believe there are a couple of things we want to check out in particular that I have in mind here. In fact, let me just see. So I believe there are some new items that are now available that we may find here. What's up, Anor? How's it going? I'm doing all right. How are you? This is also our first Friday stream for the first time in a very long time. First time since having blown out my voice a while ago. So good to be back for a Friday night stream. So in theory, I believe there are some new items here. Yeah, so although the game has been upscaled to 4K, or at least you can upscale it to 4K, I believe. Oh, we're also encumbered? Since when? Okay, apparently we are encumbered and we have a bunch of junk items that we can probably just dump here. How? No, what? We're not over encumbered. What? Why is it? Are we just not allowed to run inside? Maybe we're just not allowed to run inside. All these things that I don't remember anymore. But I believe some things have been retextured and what have you, just have generally been improved visually. So that's, I think, the primary thing that has been changed. Because, of course, The Witcher 3 is, what, originally from 2015, I want to say? Although it never really looked bad, by any means. So I think one of these chests has new stuff in it, but I'm just not sure precisely where it is in here. So we'll do a little bit of exploration. Talk a little bit more about what to expect. So yes, I think the primary appeal of the new update is supposed to be the visuals, which again, unfortunately, I think in my case is not really the aspect that I'm going to focus on. But as I said, we played it recently. I honestly didn't think the visuals were that bad. Obviously, at this point in time, The Witcher 3 is not a brand new game anymore, but not by any means. But it still holds up for sure. And at this stage, it's not as if the graphics are the primary reason why you're playing The Witcher 3. It's because the gameplay is just amazing, and the story is amazing, and all that. So that's one thing. For others who haven't played The Witcher in a while and are looking for a reason to come back to it, I think that's just the main appeal in some ways. But for me, I'm more intrigued by... There are some new items, which I think it's not going to be a huge factor, but I'm curious to at least check them out. And then there's, I think, at least one quest that I want to say was incomplete when the original Witcher 3 came out, and so it has been fully implemented at this point. And so that is the primary thing that I really want to check out. I feel like the chest in question is over here somewhere. I could be mistaken. If not, that's probably, if I can't find it, then this is probably not the highest priority thing. I just figured it'd be a quick thing to check. Because I know where the new quest is. It's an area that previously, I mean, it existed and it looked like there should be something there, and there just wasn't anything of note to do in that location. Let's see. I think it's going to be one of these. Possibly. Okay, I lied. Thought it was going to be in this sort of more significant location, because this is where we met with Emir on several occasions, right? Maybe it's one of these chests hidden back here? But I don't think it's really supposed to be a hidden thing. I just don't remember precisely where it is. But it is in Vizima. It's in one of these chests, and somewhere. I just don't recall exactly where. And unfortunately, because we apparently are not allowed to run around here, it does slow our ability to check it out. But yeah, we can head out and look at the other location. I mean, I doubt it's over here, but I'll check. There's that main quest, or it's not a main quest mission, but there is a quest that I definitely want to check out. Then there's at least one NPC who previously we were unable to speak to, and I don't know. I know he's a shopkeeper at the very least. There's a chance that he also has a quest, but I'm not sure about that. So that's also something I'm going to want to check out as well. So those are, I think, the two main things that intrigue me. That and, if we do track down exactly where this gear is, then we'll give that a look as well. Can we see the Blood and Wine area later on? Yeah, I don't know if there are other... Oh, the other thing I should mention is that the developers, CD Projekt Red, they were a little bit cryptic. They were like, okay, there are a few secrets here and there that we're not going to outright state in our patch notes and what have you, and going to leave that to the players. Okay, also, are we stuck in here for all of eternity? Secretly, this is how Nilfgaard takes over the continent. They just trap Geralt in the same room. I think it's out here. But yeah, so there's a chance that, like the Blood and Wine area might look different. There might be, Hearts of Stone area might be different. Any of a number of other locations might have some changes. NPC, dialogue, I don't know. I mean, to me, the quests are the most obvious. This is a significant thing that is different that you can now do that was not available before. So that's what intrigues me the most, but I don't know. Apparently these guys don't care if we take stuff in here. I do not remember that, but... While we're over here. While we're over here, see if it happens to be in one of these spots. No, I'm gonna take a guess and say the rusty bread knife is probably not the thing that just got added. Just gonna go out on a limb there. Also, we have a sword drawn this entire time, just walking around these guards. They've not realized that either. They probably would not have loved that either. Okay, so that is theoretically where there's I believe, some kind of new gear that I just could not find, but Vizima Royal Palace, theoretically, is over there somewhere. So that's one thing that I wanted to check out. But I think, why don't we go to the big thing? New item in Orin. Exactly, right? The biggest thing, I think, is in Velen. So why don't we... Do we want to finish with the big thing, or do we want to go straight into that? The new quest that I know for a fact exists is in Velen. There's the NPC... is in Skellige that we can now talk to that we were not previously able to talk to. I know he's at least a shopkeeper. I don't know if he also has a quest or if he's somehow involved with a quest or something like that. So that one is more of an uncertainty to me. That could be a very quick thing or it could be a more time-consuming thing depending on how involved that update is. Maybe we check that out just to see how significant it is. Oh, and I think the map has been slightly reworked as well to make it easier to read things on it. I think I heard that, you know, that the quantity of question marks and what have you has been simplified a little bit. It might not show everything all the time. Oh, actually, it might be in here. Wait, actually, the items might. Hold on, we might be able to get the items here as well, or alternatively, let's take a quick pit stop. I might have been mistaken. Thought I heard somewhere that the new items were in Vizima, but I also thought at one point I might have heard now we can run, which is also convenient. Thought I might have heard at one point in time that some new items were available here as well. So they're in one of the chests. Let's see. Now, I'm also just being extra conscious of like, oh, does this NPC look different than before? Has anything changed? A random thing that I'm not sure is significant at all, but oh. Controller vibrated upon walking in here, and I'm not sure why. But this may be the place where the new items are. In here, or a similar chest? Or is this just our stash? Yeah, this is just our stash. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there's definitely more vibrating on the controller happening than before. Like, that was not previously a thing. It didn't feel like. Or at least maybe my memory is deceiving me, but it's fairly certain. It wasn't as if, oh, you walked past something significant. The controller's going to vibrate to give you a little hint. So I remember in the past it was always, oh, hold on. Is that a candle we're extinguishing or is that a chest we're opening type of thing? Not sure what to make that either. Yes, I thought it might have been in one of these chests here. But no, we'll just extinguish candles just to prove the point now. Any chests we're missing here? And maybe I'm mistaken. But as I said, I mean, that's secondary, I think, at least for me. At this point, obviously, we've played the game through in its entirety. Yes, no. So it's not as if we are in desperate need of new equipment or anything like that, although I was curious to at least see what it looks like and see what the stats are and all that stuff. Does Roach still do parkour these days? We had the craziest thing we ever had in our Witcher playthrough. Was there was one time when we were actually in Skellige, and as we were getting all of the places of all the smugglers' caches, is that what they're referred to as? All of the loot in the ocean, which definitely does look different and does look better than it did before. We got all of those in one trip. And at one point in time, I want to say we were right around here. I want to say we're like right here. We were on foot. We had been riding around in our boat, picking up all the loot. But we were over here, and we were walking around on foot, picking up the loot on this area. And then I was thinking to myself, you know, that wasn't a huge gap across there. We can probably walk or swim that ourselves, right? We don't need our boat. And then I did that, and I either called Roach, or maybe I was trying to ride Roach across that gap. And then I was swimming, and I looked down, and Roach was walking on the bottom of the water and like zipping through. And it was terrifying. It was terrifying. Roach was breathing underwater. Roach is a fish, confirmed. All right, so we're just gonna never find where this... Watch it be this. Yeah, it's actually the water and the honeycomb are the things that are new. No, I think... I have no idea what that was that we just lit. Maybe that torch outside. But I think the new items are tied to, or at least are visually similar to the armor and some of the weapons, what have you, that are used in the Netflix series. Say what you will about that, I know, but I think one of them might even be technically a Witcher piece of gear that is upgradable several times, so it is possible to you know, turn that into maybe an endgame piece of armor capable of stacking up to some other stuff. But oh, also I never got this, never figured this thing out. But this elevator. But the NPC is over here once we go up, theoretically. If the elevator comes to get us, maybe.
Just 2 long ones. Still they snuck ashore, gave the black ones hell, raised them fucking barren. Came back with nary
There you go. I'll eventually sheath the sword for you, but okay. Now let's see. This is what I mean. Like, where'd the elevator go? What the heck? That's supposed to be an elevator. I know it has to travel a long distance, but oh well. Okay, there you go. There it is. It just took a really long time. But now, like, what do we hit the button and then immediately have to jump back on it before it goes up? Like, what the heck? Like, see? Oh, what? What? That is the most successful we've ever been at using the elevator, and obviously it was not a very successful elevator ride, but it's exponentially further than we had gone in any previous attempt. I think I read somewhere as well, that just reminded me, that the fall damage has become a little more forgiving, because that is, of course, a little common thing that people used to talk about, was how a small tumble off a tiny ditch was sometimes enough to kill Geralt. Never mind, you know, taking on all the monsters in the world, facing off against the Wild Hunt and all, and what have you. Okay, now how do we get up there if we aren't using the ladder? There is a fast travel spot that we can go to that's more direct. I went to this one before because I was thinking that we might have found the items in the chest over in that inn slash... Yeah, that inn area where Yen stays at one point in time.
No such thing as bad ships or bad weather.
There we go. Okay. So I think rather than try to use the elevator, I think it's right by this spot right here. Okay. So previously, over, is it here? Somewhere along this area, there was a shopkeeper who previously, for some reason, was just completely silent. You could not speak to him at all. He's outside on one of these ledges somewhere. Just not sure how exactly we get onto his platform. Is it higher up? Are we below him or are we above him right now? Let's say we're above him right now and assume we need to go slightly lower. Also, Geralt has decided to be a safe witcher and not run down the stairs, despite my telling him to do the contrary. Wait, actually, though?
I've always said only a fool would hang himself in midair in a wooden box.
Down here? Question mark? Where is this guy? He's somewhere on this area with all the ledges and what have you. Ah, is this where he is? No, I don't think so. I think we might have gone too low at this point. Maybe? I don't know. In the interest of not turning around right before we're about to find him, I will proceed, but... Huh. This is, of course, also the nature of jumping back into the game after having not played it for a year and a half, and not remembering some of the finer details about his location. He's on one of these spots. definitely too low. Yeah, he's definitely up somewhere. It's more on the side of the actual castle itself. He is well hidden. I think he is kind of one of those guys that people just sort of stumble across every now and again because it is kind of obscure, the actual entry point to where he is. And then, for that reason, perhaps people did not realize as much when we were not able to actually speak to him. He was, I think, at least involved in some kind of quest. Might not give us a new one, but yeah, I don't know. Let's just see if we can spy from here. It's like... it is... oh, there's where the elevator would have taken us. We try...
Oh, aye, aye.
there's not really anything down there, is there? Keep our eyes peeled. So it's like this area, I think. It's just a little bit bigger. On the side of the castle wall. Kind of like that. And definitely outside, not inside. So I do remember speaking, or trying to speak to him and seeing him in the past, but this was, as I was saying, a long time ago. Maybe he's just on the other side. No one else over there. What about no one on this side? What about over here? I'm betting he's over one of these sides. There we go. This guy. Right here. This blacksmith, previously you were not able to speak to him. He was supposed to be a shopkeeper, but for whatever reason, it was just not possible to speak to him.
Interested in a weapon? There's a tale behind every item I've got.
Alright, so let's see. We can play him at Gwent, apparently. But maybe we just shoot the breeze a little bit.
Tell me a story about one of your weapons.
See this sword? You know by its crafter's mark that it was forged in the Isles. Belonged to Lars. It would have been the same age as I.
What happened to him?
His wife went missing during a nasty storm. It was said the goddess smiled fondly on her, so Lars refused to believe she was truly dead. He ran out on the rocks and begged Freya to give his wife back. Left his sword behind to show the god's humility, and never returned for it.
Selling that same sword now?
We could have tossed it in the sea, but fish got no use for blades. He had no family, so I'm selling it to the right man.
Okay. I'm actually kind of curious. I feel like there's a chance that if we leave and come back, he might have a different sword to tell us.
So long.
About a different piece of gear. I think it was under the most unusual of circumstances. Oh, okay. I thought he was about to try to stab us with that sword. It really looked like it. I think there might have been some extremely specific circumstance under which he did not bug out, and therefore, if you were incredibly deliberate and did things in a very unusual order, it may have been possible to speak to him previously, but now they have fixed it such that you can speak to him in any circumstance, and so for most people, this is going to be the first time you can actually talk to him.
Interested in a weapon? There's a tale behind every item I've got.
So I'm just curious. I know this is grayed out now, but let's see if it's still the same story. If it is, we'll skip through it.
Battle axe looks pretty old.
Yeah, see, now it's about an
Even
axe.
older than this keep, and yet still sharp. Once each year, at Sayavine, this axe speaks. It tells of blood spilt in battles, of burning villages and sunken boats. Might be a curse. And might be it drank too much human blood. What's certain is, no one wants it.
Okay, so that's the axe.
So
Is there more, though? Alright, so if we run at people without a sword drawn, they don't really do much.
Watch where you step.
I mean, other than occasionally tell us to stop bumping into them.
Nilfgaard and Skellige. Never fucking thought I'd see you.
Okay, apparently we can bully this guy around a little bit. But if we draw swords, at least in some cases, if we draw swords, people will start to get mad at us a bit.
Watch
Maybe
where you
not
step.
in Skellige. But what are some like sometimes where there are bodyguards? I mean, if we start swinging this thing, they're gonna get mad at us for sure. But Skellige, they're like, ah, nah, everybody has a sword, right?
Watch yourself.
Interested in a weapon? There's a tale behind every item I've got.
All right, so I imagine there's got to be obviously some kind of fixed number of things he can talk about. So I'm kind of curious to see how many there are and what they are. And then once that's happened, we'll check out. We'll play McWent. We'll see what he's selling and all that stuff. And Reese,
Welcome.
thanks for the follow. And it's Zelva. Thanks for the raid. How's it going? What were you up to? Were you doing some Witcher as well? We're just checking out the new update for the first time and seeing what's new, seeing what there is to check out. So this NPC right here is someone who I think only under the most unusual of circumstances people were able to speak to. Otherwise, he was going to be bugged. And so for most people, this is the first time they've been able to speak to him, which is why we're checking out all of his dialogue options. Then we're going to see what he has to sell. We'll play him at Gwent, and we'll do, you know, any other stuff that pops up. Playing some stuff with God of War Ragnarok. Nice.
Tell me a story about one of your weapons.
See this sword? You know.
Okay, so we have heard this one before. All right, so I'm going to skip this.
What happened to him?
Skip through this one. That's actually
Selling that.
We couldn't.
the strange as it sounds, and as small as this is. I think the way that you skip through dialogue is slightly different as well. But okay, let's see what he has to sell. I imagine it's probably not anything totally out of the ordinary, but
What are you peddling?
I imagine most of this stuff is not exactly fantastic and is probably, for the most part, just generic. Yeah, I think that's that kind of thing we tended to see just about at any other vendor. I think that's not a bad saddlebag, but we're obviously... This is basically us coming back at the end of a game that we've already finished, and therefore probably not an upgrade for us, but if you catch this guy early, that might have been worth pursuing, checking that out. Can repair, but I don't think that's going to change at all from one person to the next. So why don't we play McWent? I mean, all in, obviously.
Wouldn't mind a few rounds of Gwent.
Obviously. Okay, all right, fittingly enough, so the Skellige faction in Gwent is added in a DLC that is canonically something that happens after you would normally be in this area. But this area is Skellige. So this might actually be the first time we can use a Skellige deck in Skellige. So that just feels like we have to do that. That's just too thematically fitting to not do that. Now, we play a lot of the standalone Gwent game on YouTube, but it has been a year and a half or more since I last played The Witcher 3 Gwent. So we're gonna see if I remember how it works in this context, because it is definitely different. All right. So he's from Skellige, but obviously he's playing as Scoia'tael because that just makes tons of sense. All right, so the cow, I remember, is way stronger than it looks. How does it work? When this card is removed from the battlefield, it summons a powerful new unit to take its place. So I think that also counts at the end of the round. So we do want to play this and play it early, I think. Marjoram will transform some cards. Like this guy is one of them, I think. Transform there when Marjoram card is on its row. Okay. I remember these are amazing. These shield maidens, but I remember there's a very specific way that you're supposed to use them, and I don't remember what that is. Place next to a card with the same name and double the strength of both cards. Hold on. So I think it's with her. I think it's with Sarah's. Summon all shield maidens from deck and hand. So I think that means we get rid of this shield maiden, and then Sarah's is basically going to give it to us for free. So I think we get rid of that. This is another card that can go berserk when we put it next to a Martyrum, so I think that's good. And this is another one where we want to have more of the same type of card, if possible, and we don't see another War Longship here, so I think we get rid of that. I think that's what we do. Okay. I think this is a really good hand, if I'm not mistaken, but it's been a while, so I'm not sure. Roach! Oh, wait, hold on. I also saw that apparently there is an option to increase the number of Gwent cards in The Witcher 3 that apparently I just never flipped before. I'd never activated. I'm pretty sure that that existed before, but I just never knew that that was even a thing, or that I had to manually activate it. So I am kind of curious to activate that and might do that later. But this is, I believe, without that at all. So this is just Gwent, the old-fashioned way, against someone who we have never played before. So I think we go with the Berserkers here, and then we'll transform them using our Marjoram, and then we'll also probably play our cow. Maybe we play our cow first. Don't you worry, this cow is going to be very strong. Right, so that's an elf. A mysterious elf they play on our side of the board. It's a spy. So I did not mean to press that. And it's supposed to give them a... Have them draw a card? Yeah, okay. I'm slowly but surely starting to put the pieces back together. So obviously, Gwent's is a card game in Witcher 3, for those who are not familiar. And so we need to outscore our opponent in 2 out of 3 rounds. And so it's a matter of just choosing which cards we play and when, and balancing it out so that if we are going to win, we aren't going to, overcommit and play all of our good stuff in one round, only for us to not have enough to win in the next round. Like here, for example, is very unfortunate, actually, because we have 2 points, they have 3 points, so they are still beating us, and we need to play one more card if we're going to win this round. However, I just played one of these guys. We can play the second one, but they're only good if we convert them with this Marjoram card here. So I basically am caught halfway through a combo that we either need to abandon and brick the other cards in it, or go all in on the rest of the combo, and we're going to be overcommitting more than we would like in this round. But I think we kind of have to do it at this point, because otherwise these cards are just going to be completely useless. So that converts those dudes into very powerful bears. But this is what I meant. Now we're beating them 32-3, which is not exactly great. We definitely played more than we would have liked to have played on that occasion. But our cow transforms at the end of the round into this card right here. We still look at it more closely when it's on the board already. I think it's called like Bovine Defense Force or something like that, which is pretty hilarious. Yeah, now the enemy has card advantage, exactly. So that's the problem. So that's why it's not great that we had to do that. But I think Ceres is an amazing card in and of herself, so she might be worth a whole lot more than just one card. But I think what we'll do here is we'll probably pass. I think we pass here, and then we force them to play some cards to catch up to us, because they can't let us win round 2. Otherwise, we win round 1, we win round 2, we win the entire match. Round 3 doesn't even matter at that point. So I think we still pass here. You're gonna have to play at least some things to beat our 8-point super cow. And that will do. So they'll win round 2. They still have card advantage, though. That's a concern. Alright, are we about to mess this up? Our first Gwent match in a long time? Oh no. Oh no. So Skellige's ability, its special ability, because every group that you choose, every faction that you choose for your Gwent matches has a special ability. I think it is, at the start of round 3, it replays the 2 smallest cards from your graveyard. The bear is fine. This cow came back, and that's worth 0 points, so that was not great. I mean, we'll take the 8 extra points, but missed opportunity there. Had I remembered exactly how the ability works, then obviously we would not have gone that route. But let's see. Remind me how this guy works. Heals the strongest cards on the battlefield. Oh. Would have helped to have read that fine print earlier, because at the moment we have the highest card. All right, these are heroes, and they are not affected by other cards. They're just relatively high base power and don't have any other abilities, but are not affected by other abilities. So I think they won't even get affected by that dude there. So I think we're fine. Also, we have an ability here, too, that I don't remember how it works, so that would also be helpful to remember how that works. So we're just going to spam our leaders, or our heroes for the moment. Hope they play something bigger so we can use our Scorch to remove something other than our own card. Otherwise, this is a negative 2-point play, which is obviously something we would rather not do. But we are, I think, through our heroes, since they do have a lot of power, just outscoring them through that alone. What does this do? Doubles the power. Oh, well, well, well. Okay, so this is the opportunity we were waiting for. As I said, I believe that this Scorch ability on the Clan Demon Pirate does not affect heroes, because heroes are immune to other cards' abilities, which means outside of heroes, the 2 highest cards are these 12s, and they have 2 12 power cards that are tied for the highest number. So I believe this will destroy both of them. I may be wrong, but I think that's going to destroy both of them. It did. Beautiful. All right, now we should be totally fine. Yes, they still have more cards than we do, but I think we'll be fine. Granted, they're going to bring back something, but... Okay. So we can also bring back something from our graveyard with Yennefer. What do we have in our graveyard? Oh. No, we still have a... We should have another bear, shouldn't we? Do we not? I don't know. Either way, we'll play Saris here, who I believe is going to summon out all those Shield Maidens from our deck, which I believe means she's going to be worth a ton of points. If I remember correctly. Boom. Okay, they're going to heal, bring someone back from their graveyard, but at this point... I think we're looking pretty good here. Now, does Yen actually have anyone to bring back from her graveyard? I thought she did. But yeah, there we go. All right, I think we'll be fine here. Yes, they have 3 more cards. We have a pretty darn huge lead, 100-point plus lead. We'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Also, I'm pretty sure we had an ability that we just never used. What does this do? Shuffles all cards from each player's graveyard back into their decks. Not even sure we wanted to do that. Also, I'm not sure what the timing of that was going to be. I think we just pass here and call it a match and say, okay, you still have 2 cards left, but we have a 90-ish point lead. So surely they can't catch us, right? Surely we are completely fine here. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, the music in Skellige in general. There we have it. We won. So we bet 10 crowns, and we won, so we got 20. The music in Skellige in general, I think is, and I think many people would agree, is generally considered among, if not the best in the game, and that is saying something, because there's so much good music in this game. Okay, so I think that was the primary thing that I wanted to do in Skellige, unless we want to just run around a little bit and, you know, I'm not sure there's any specific stuff that we would target. But if we just want to see, we should probably at some point jump in for some combat and see, you know, to what extent things have changed there. I feel like I might have heard some changes have been made that affect the fluidity of the combat a little bit. There's a new camera angle for it, I think. A more dynamic camera angle that might be a little bit more difficult, but more immersive to use. And so, I mean, we could do that here. We could do that elsewhere. It doesn't really matter where we do it. But let's see. So that was the primary thing that I wanted to check here in Skellige. So that was the NPC who previously was very difficult, if not impossible to talk to, because he would bug out for most people. So now you can buy and sell items with him. You can play him at Gwent, and he has, of course, some unique dialogue as well, a little bit of unique dialogue. The bigger thing, though, perhaps the biggest thing, is that there is what I believe is a brand new quest in Velen. So that, I think, run around, destroy everyone in Gwent. We could, I mean, we're already Gwent's champions of, like, every single location. But, hold on, wait, I actually want to check. So I thought there was, in the options, something that I just didn't even realize was a thing that affects Gwent. Hold on. It's like some alternate card set in Gwent. Okay, this is new, I think. The Explore camera distance, Combat camera distance, Horseback camera distance. There's one of these that is like, yeah, okay, so we actually weren't in the default view. So there's something that's, I guess it's like more sort of over the shoulder rather than, you know, further away. And so a little bit harder to see things that are in your peripheral vision, so to speak, I think. But it's supposed to be, again, a little more immersive. So I didn't even realize, but apparently those have been activated. Then where is Gwent? Oh, I mean, obviously we're turning that up. I thought there was a specific slider. This is new. Quick sign casting, where usually, let's see, this is standard casting. Okay, no, ready? We're gonna do something that's gonna make these people mad at us. Let's save. Let's save, and then we'll do something that'll make these people mad at us. Okay, I think that's fine. But that's actually interesting to know. I'm also not sure if that... Okay, that did save. Did save. So previously, when it came to using signs, you'd have to open up this menu to activate all this, to select your sign, and then you have a sign button, and only then, okay, like if we use Quen, surely they won't get mad, right? Surely if we put on a okay, no, they will get mad at us. Okay, they will get mad at us. At 100, I bet the maximum amount. The average civilian that you challenge to Gwent's is not exactly doing so well when it comes to the finances, apparently, because they call Roach? I thought that was the call Roach button. And throw punches, but yeah, the average person who you can play at Gwent for the most part does not have much money. I swear, there's way more controller vibration. And I don't know why. Like, my controller just went crazy, just taking a random step through here, and I have no clue as to why that is. That definitely was not a thing before. I mean, like, we'll take the silver. It's not a terrible item. It's not as if... I mean, those are not bad either. They're okay. It's not like there's something super important here that we're missing out on. Alright, we won't steal, we won't steal. Place of power? But I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, we're in just a random... what is technically supposed to be a passageway for horses and whatnot to get up to the castle. But I really don't know why, but it's happened on a few occasions now. It does seem to be more aggressive. The whole controller vibration thing, but there's no clear reason why I'm getting it when I'm getting it, so I'm not sure what the idea behind that is. So that's an intriguing one. Maybe that's just me not remembering exactly how it was implemented in the past, but it at least my first impression, or whatever impression you want to call it at this point, feels like that is a fair bit different.
Who made that be?
You blame.
It's not the call Roach button? Not those. There we go. That's the call Roach button. Okay. So like this music, for example, I think people tend to say this is among their favorites, right? Alright, we'll beat these people up. And by that, I mean we will absolutely annihilate them in like one hit. Oh, or not. Okay, so that's a strong attack button. Hold on. Hold on. Does Lids remember the buttons? That's strong attack, that's fast attack, okay. In general, it definitely felt weightier. I typically would do a whole lot more, come on, Roach. In general, when it came to combat, I tended to just kind of spam the fast attack a lot. Are you a bandit? No.
Slower.
So I tended to just kind of spam fast attacks, for the most part at least, when it came to other combat situations, that and obviously signs and what have you. But it felt more like a heavy attack. I wasn't sure when I pressed it initially, because it felt like it was just had so much more power behind it. So that was interesting. I mean, obviously that was a very brief battle against some bandits that were just complete pushovers, but intriguing nonetheless. And you know that, I mean, that's significant. Might not seem like a lot, but if the feel of combat is altered such that it feels more important to time your attacks and feels more impactful when you land them and what have you, then in general, I think that's definitely a big improvement. And, you know, it's hard to describe it exactly other than, again, it just feels more weighty. Feels like a light attack had the impact of a heavy attack. Put it in comparative terms, at least a heavy attack in the old Witcher days. All right, so maybe we head out from Skellige now.